Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. And I'm here with my favorite son, and that's Pastor Norman Armstrong.
I am honored. I am honored. Good evening to everyone.
As usual, Dad has something to do at the very last moment. He was here and then he just stepped out. But we will carry on until he gets here. I want to take this time just to thank everybody for my birthday celebration on Saturday. It was beautiful and had so many people that we love and close that door, honey. The other door behind you. Okay, here he comes. Hope you guys didn't hear that. We are here live and in color, as you can see. And Pastor Norman's here to have another conversation with us. We're glad to have you with us for this next hour at least, and hope you can make it through the hour. You think you can?
I feel a little bit better.
A little better.
He's
He's been a little under the weather, and the doctor gave him some medicine that might make him a little loopy, but he'll get loopy and he'll probably start talking some mystical talk.
It ain't gonna be no different than what you heard.
Yeah. So it sounded a little raspy, but he's all right. He'll be fine. Let me see who's here, Pastor Norman. I know somebody's here. Let's see. There's my sister and my brother-in-law. Hope you guys had a good day at work. Don't even think about work. Let's just forget all about it. Isn't that
Who's
right?
the rock star?
Huh?
Linda Langdon said, "Hello, rock stars."
Yeah, he always jumps ahead of us, Linda. Hey, how are you? Linda sent me a message watching my YouTube. I did a little short video on my landscaping, my DIY landscaping. And if you haven't had a chance to see it, you might want to look at it. And Sister Pearl sent me a landscaping donation. I'm really proud of it. So anyway, hey guys. Hey Kathy, how are you? And then there's Dee Dee. Hey Dee Dee and George. I got your text about not being able to be with us on Saturday. We got to get with you guys. Help me celebrate my birthday late, a belated celebration. Hey, Bernie and I talked today. She's doing better, and she's gotten over COVID, and she had her family reunion and all of that. And it was so good talking to her today too. Adrian, good afternoon. John Greason's in the house, and there's Deb, and let's see who else. Anybody else here that I see? No, but I know there's some of you guys out there hanging out and you're just not writing anything in the comments section, and that's perfectly all right. We are so blessed to have an opportunity to speak our truth. You know that? Mm-hmm. We are really blessed to be able to do that. Come on in the house. You hear? You hear? Very good. Okay. And baby girl's right here beside us. And if you hear somebody coughing, it could either be baby girl or it might be Pastor. Either one.
Doing what?
Coughing.
Oh, okay.
Pastor Norman, what did you preach on Sunday? I always ask you because I'm in.
I preached Acts chapter 12, verses 1 through 5, when Peter was locked up in prison by Herod. And the scripture in verse 5, it says that the church was praying and interceding for him. So I'm still yet on my series, intercession, the power of intercession. Mm-hmm. That's what I was talking about. It got so good, I didn't get to my 5 key points concerning intercession and what that all involves. Again, I'm sharing the difference between just praying and interceding, and of course the prefix INTER means to get in between or in the midst of. And so I was explaining what intercession really is all about.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Well, Dad and I just want to mention this. Dad and I, when we start this on Sunday, We were gonna make sure we hug each other every morning.
Something.
We made
What was that?
what am I hearing?
Mm.
I don't know what that was. We made an agreement between each other to hug every morning, first thing in the morning, and just to start our day off. And today, because of some other things that came up, we forgot all about it, didn't we?
Yeah, we sure did.
Yeah. So around 5:30 or so, I took.
What reason why we didn't do it? I've been up all night.
You'd been up all night, yeah, and all of that. So we got to dealing with all of that, and so we forgot about it. And I was upstairs getting ready for tonight's session, and I remembered. I said, "Oh, we didn't get to do that." So I said to the Lord, I said, "I'm going down there, and we're gonna rewind. We're gonna wind the time back to morning, because this is what we're gonna do." So it's now morning. I want you to know that it is morning. So we hugged, and then the Lord opened some things up to me. He said, he didn't say it, but these are some things that were revealed to me. When I remember the scripture where it says Jesus was moved with compassion, and what stood out to me in that passage, and I could find it, somebody can find it for me and we'll read it. I started to deal with what is compassion. And when I was contemplating that, the Lord said to me, he said, had you hugged this morning, you would have healed him.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So
Matthew 14:14.
read it for me, Pastor Norman.
And Jesus went forth and saw a great multitude and was moved with compassion towards them, and he healed their sick.
Yes. And I looked up what compassion actually means. It means I used to think it meant just feeling sorry for a person, but it's not feeling sorry for a person. It's not even just putting yourself in their place. You've heard of the word empathy, and I used to have the concept of compassion, meaning, and I don't even know how to put it in words, because it was a concept that I had of compassion that was obviously distorted. And so when it said Jesus was moved with compassion, the key word in that verse is he was moved. He was moved. A lot of times we see things like we see something on TV, a dog that's hurt, or a child that's just sick, or something. You know how they show you those commercials where they're telling you about how things they need help for certain causes or whatever, and our heart goes out to them, but it's not. My heart is not moved. It I acknowledge the pain. I even feel some of the pain, but it doesn't move me. So I looked up what compassion actually meant. It actually means the ability to feel and understand what another person is going through, and willingness to respond with loving support.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes a step further. So when the Lord said to me, if we had hugged this morning, I would have healed him.
Wow.
What he was saying was, and I realize now why we didn't hug, and this isn't a negative against either one of us. We both just got caught up in the moment of what was happening. He didn't sleep well. He was coughing. And so immediately I went into the mode of, okay, what can we do for you? What can we do to clear this up? And all of that. And of course, he was in the mode of being really, really frustrated because he felt bad and he was sleepy and he couldn't sleep. So we went into the mode of trying to find what we could do to resolve the issue.
Yeah.
And completely forgot to actually do what we had agreed to do. And now I realize, had we done it, and this isn't a negative, but I realize now that we would have given God the opportunity to feel and understand what he was going through had we embraced.
That's
hear you.
good.
You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
That is amazing. That actually ties into to what I'm teaching about intercession.
Really?
It
And
does,
so,
because
go ahead.
one of the things, and I love that what you were sharing, because one of the things when we intercede, one of the key things is that we get involved. And so when you mentioned about Jesus being moved with compassion and then he healed the sick, he actually got involved, which means there was a
Mhm.
grace that was activated and caused him to engage and employ the power, the mercy, the grace that he had. And when he did that, it healed the sick.
Yes. Now there was a reason. Now see, this is the thing. I was in a mode of willing to respond, willing to care for him, which is something that I automatically jump to. It's like it's part of my inherent nature. I just jump into that mode because I've had to be caregiver for so many people for so long. So that's a norm for me. However, it was not what was required at that moment. So I'm realizing now, and this goes back to what I said about my when I talked about my deliverance that I had a few weeks ago. Uh, there, I entered into a stage or a phase where I know I can care without being burdened or attached. And so I slipped back into the habit of being burdened and attached. And when I did, we forgot to hug.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm realizing now that to stay free of that trying to fix,
Mm-hmm.
that trying to fix is where I fail. And I'm calling it the fall because we fall, we have awakened, but we still fall. And we
Mm-hmm.
have fallen. We fell as a human race, but now we fall, those of us who are awake, we fall back into that state, the habitual state of trying to fix. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what happened with Adam and Eve. If you go back to the narrative, they tried to fix themselves. And so
Mm-hmm.
here we are, and I'm realizing that you cannot fix we cannot fix things, and that is not supposed to be our first response. Our first response is the ability to feel and understand what the other person is going through. Had I done that, not allowed myself to jump into, oh, I don't want him to feel bad and I've got to fix this. Had I allowed myself to feel and understand what he was going through, I would remembered to hug.
You did. You failed.
You base.
Go ahead.
No, Dad, you go ahead.
He said, "Go ahead, Dad."
Oh, okay. I heard somebody say they were wanting God to walk with them.
Mm.
The side effects in this dimension is wanting God to walk with you. So what they said you can do to walk with God. Now, what can you do to walk with your feet if your feet is walking?
What's walking? Yes, yes.
Did you hear? Do you catch what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
we got this saying, we got to stop saying what everybody else say just to feel good, or say what everybody else say just because it sound good. Okay, you can sound good, but what we don't understand, what the mind don't want to be understood, is that you can never ever walk with God. So he puts an addendum in there to make it seem like you have to do a whole lot of rituals in order to walk with God.
Yeah.
Well, what in the ham sandwich? You've got the Holy Ghost. Oh, I'm sorry. That's too churchy. I don't want to be churchy. When I talk to a baby in the mama's stomach, not this is open-minded now. This thing right here will get you starved. I talk to a baby in the stomach, I'm talking to God. When the baby responds to me, he's responding intuitively back to God. When Jesus said this, have I been so long with you, and yet hast thou not known me? Oh, really? See me. It was the Father. Well, who was the Father? It was him. Who was Jesus? It was him.
Mm-hmm.
I asked the person, had you ever seen anywhere in the Old Testament where he had to pray for God to come? If he did, he said it in, I'm going to say it like this. I don't believe, I know that Jesus was fully aware of his true identity and was fixed into it that Papa and him, unless he told a lie, and God can't lie. What lies is what's around him. What lies is the addiction self. And that lie is an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here we go. The end, what I've been teaching since Sunday, you can end the struggle of trying to get God to walk with you because you're an apostle possum, rabbit, squirrel, duck, turtle, rattlesnake, whatever. If you understand, sit down and have a talk with God, and I promise you, that thing you say, I come to you the most honest way I know how. No, you can't do that. That's just something you just said in order to make something feel like it's on the top of your list to get God's attention. May not come when you want him, but he's always on time. He ain't going nowhere. Now go back and look up the definition of omnipotence, omnipresent. How can God be sitting out in my car and in the liquor store at the same time? God don't stand in no unclean, unholy place. Well, you better let him get out of you, the body that is. Now I'm going somewhere with this, and I would love to come down into your peace tent arrangements where we can have some peace pipe talk about this eternal self that never go nor come nor look for God nor call on God somewhere else at another time in another place.
Now, can I jump back in?
Back
in because when we talk about our God identity, a lot of us don't know how that plays out day to day.
Oh.
We hear it as a mythical language, but we don't know how it plays out. So when I share what we go through personally, it's to help you have some kind of a picture of what it looks like when it's played out in your everyday life. So going back to what I was saying, the mode of jumping into the mode immediately for those people that we care about, and even for some of those that we look at and we have pity on.
Yeah.
That's that's a habit to jump into I want to fix it mode.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of us have gone into the ministry because of that habit. We think we have to fix everything. And what the Lord is showing me, what He's revealing to me through our everyday interactions, is that the Antoinette trying to fix it is what's been in the way of it being fixed. And so here I am, I'm moving away from the caregiver habit because I played that role. I don't have to carry the identity. And so
Mm-hmm.
now I am finding a place of freedom from the identity of being a caregiver. So jumping into that mode immediately of I'm going to fix this, or I want to fix, I've got to fix this. When I have that thought, I've got to fix this, there's a fear that comes up, there's an anxiety that comes up, there's a powerless, a feeling of being powerless that comes up. There are feelings of being overwhelmed because life is now out of control. All of those things don't have to be there working or moving inside of me. I don't have to experience that.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember not to fall into the habit of being the fixer. And so
Mm-hmm.
now I am at a point where I realize all I've got to do is be here. I just got to be here, feel, and understand. That's all I got to do. I got to be here, feel, and understand what the other person may be going through.
Exactly.
When I'm not, when I fall into the habit of fixing it, I'm immediately burdened, frustrated, scared, all of those things. So now the Lord is revealing to me a way of getting through life without feeling that way. And it's
Mm-hmm.
to relinquish, I got to fix it. I have to relinquish, I got to fix it. When it said
Mm-hmm.
Jesus was moved with compassion, he was saying he had the ability to feel and understand. And I remember the scripture that talks about we have a high priest.
But that's what I was getting ready to read is in Hebrews chapter
Go ahead and
chapter.
read it, Pastor
Yeah.
Norman. Read it, Pastor.
It's Hebrews 4, verse 15 and 16. For we have not an high priest which cannot be touched with the feeling of our infirmities, but was in all points tempted like as we are, yet without sin. Let us therefore come boldly unto the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in time of need.
Now, John Greason is asking, was Jesus not in that role? Oh, yes, he was in that role, but he didn't carry the identity. Jesus did not carry the identity of being the savior of mankind. He played the role, but he was fulfilling a mission of what he was given as a purpose to come into the earth. He was not trying to fix man. In fact, he made a lot of people mad. And a lot of things he said run some of them off. So
Exactly.
he wasn't.
What you just said,
Yeah. So he wasn't trying to. How do I want to word it? Jesus wasn't in the mode of trying to make sure we all felt the same way, or that he could remove all of the pain. In other words, I'll give you the example. When he went to by the pool of Bethesda, he did not heal everybody around that pool.
Mm-mm.
He didn't heal everybody around that pool because he didn't have that He didn't have that mode. I've got to fix everybody. He did not have that. Was not the mode Jesus was in.
Well, see, you said something key earlier about being. It wasn't so much him trying to fix, because his feelings were not involved. It was his
Right.
presence. And
Yes.
so when you were sharing that, one of the examples that I thought of in scriptures of the apostles, where it said that their shadow healed a lot of people, which means they were not even thinking about trying to heal somebody or, fix a situation. They were just
Right.
present, and them
Right.
being present and their true identity, it healed, or it did whatever it needed to do with the people that was there.
Yes. Now, John's also come back. Thank you, John, for the comments. He said, "So are we not in that role if we are like him?" Now, that's a statement. Let's look at this statement, because we think, and Dad, you're talking about it in what you're saying to us. We think we can be like him.
No way.
And I have to admit that we have been taught that in our Christian circles, to be like Jesus. And there was even a bracelet they came out with, is that what would Jesus do? And but we don't have to be like him. We can be him.
Mhm.
If the I can fix it, or the desire to cuss, I don't know if I can say all of this.
It's hard to say.
It's hard to say.
It's you can't find the words.
If I drop the habit of trying to fix it, then I move out of the way so that it can be fixed by the only one who can fix it, which is the Christ. And the Christ is what we are, not the Antoinette mode. And I don't know if I'm making it clear. I may not be. I'm just saying that there's two different modes. One is Antoinette trying to fix it because it's disturbing to her. And the other is allowing the compassion to come through and allowing it to be fixed. Does that make sense?
The key word in his question is the word role. All right, playing so are we not in that role, or playing a role? Because the word role means to take on a character, like an actor or an actress. So in essence, that's not truly me. I am now pretending.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that's what I've been doing. And out of habit, that's what I've been doing.
Mm-hmm. And so I don't have to take on a character when I walk in my true self. I am what I am. All right. But when I'm trying to fulfill a role, I am now pretending or trying to take on the character of whatever I'm trying to play or act out of.
Yes,
and that's the difference.
Yes. And hasn't that been what we as Christians have tried to do?
Take on a role.
We've tried to take on that character and be like Jesus, instead of allowing Galatians 2:20 to be fulfilled in our lives, when he says, "I am crucified with Christ." And then there's a scripture, that same scripture in the Young's literal translation says, "Yet I live no more."
Exactly.
You cannot kill spirit.
Mm-mm.
You cannot drown it. You cannot starve it to death.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot overload it with worry and care.
Mm-mm.
I'm talking about the God identity. The questions need to be asked, and if they're not loaded enough, they will not propel you into the investigation of who you really are. Who are you? Well, I'm Sawyer, and I live down in Church Street in North Carolina, and I'm talking to Norman on this box here. That you will not get a response from your Christ I am self. Separation from God is an illusion. Let's turn it around. Separation from each other is one of the biggest sicknesses.
It is the sickness. It is the sickness Of
in the
humanity.
universe.
In the humanity, yes.
Have I not said many times online that if you see me, you see Jesus and the Father? Wait, Sawyer. Now you ain't gonna tell me that you him. Okay, I won't. I won't tell you that. I'll let you find out for yourself. But the average person is not gonna find out because there's an enmity from the ego.
Yeah.
It says you can't say that because you ain't God and you ain't holy. Wait.
And I can be a caregiver and not have an ounce of compassion. And that's the point I want to make. I can care for people and not have an ounce of empathy for them because it's the role I took on. But that is not what I'm not talking about doing this as a character. So I apologize to the Lord for falling back into the habit. And so now I realize nothing's more important than us having that hug. Nothing's more, and it's not and not that it's become something I've got to do, but it's something that will allow an opportunity for God to actually do what He would like to do. And I hope that makes sense. I hope it does.
Here it is. Somebody want to know how.
John is asking this question. Now, this is a loaded question, John. When do the blinders come off? When do the blinders?
That's a loaded question.
Well, they are now receiving, and it's being burned up by the fire of the holy presence of your divine self. I could say by the holy presence of God, but if I say that, I'm talking about you. Mm-hmm. Jesus said him and the Father was one. Yeah. Have I not been so long with you and you've not known it, Philip? Mm-hmm. I told my mama, I am not who you think I am.
Was there any ego? Was there any ego in that statement?
She looked, might have been, I don't care. It could have been. But see, here's the thing about it. Come rain or come shine.
It's the same. It's the truth.
It's either with the ego or without.
It's the truth.
This is a fact that does not take believing. It takes seeing and revealed too.
Well, that's what his question is. When do the blinders come off?
If you are hungry for this, it is him hungry for himself, because he had to decrease. We had to decrease so that we could come into this addicted world to increase in awareness of the truth of beingness. Have a talk with yourself, and you're going to find out you're talking to God, and you don't have to go far. Go to work, leave God home. Go to the bathroom, tell God I got to go in the bathroom, wash my face, and he'll stay outside because I don't want him to see what kind of soap I'm using. Tell God to sit over there in the chair while you put your shoes on. When I get through, me and you gonna walk out the door. But if you don't want to go with me, God, I'll let you stay here all day and watch television while I'm going to do my business. Oh yeah, I'm going to church on Sunday. Are you going with me? Well, when I get there, Lord, they're gonna say you ain't there until something take place where they can say God really showed up. Well, when did God get there? He ain't never not been there. Mm-hmm. What you asking for? You know.
Calm down, young man. Calm down.
Now, Mom, you keep mentioning the word fallen, and yes. and people need to get a clear insight and revelation of that. When you make a mention of fallen or the fallen self, that simply means that we have dropped or come down from a higher place, a higher level, which is our true identity. So that means we're not functioning. Matt, I just heard something. It's when we have fallen that we now are taking on roles, because
Yes.
When I'm falling, I'm taking on a false identity. That is not even me. So I'm playing a role at that moment. But it's when I come up to my higher self, or the higher the I am, I'm no longer fulfilling a role. So there's no need to fulfill a role when you're walking in your higher self.
Right.
It's only when you are in that fallen state, which means you have lost consciousness of who you are, which I call it spiritual amnesia. Spiritual
But you
amnesia,
know,
forgot.
and you're so right, Pastor Norman. And I am so glad. I'm gonna tell you this, John Greason. I am so proud of you for asking this question. When do the blinders come off? Because you asked that question with the understanding that now there are things you do not see and you want to see. This is a prayer. There are many who have listened to us and who will listen to us in the future, who have listened to us in the past, who have never grasped what we are saying and are still trying to become it. And what Pastor said, he's saying you are that no matter what. But then there is a time appointed when the blinders must come off, when you realize I'm not walking in that, or not so much not walking in it. Let me rephrase that. I am walking in something that is not myself. I'm walking in a role. I'm walking in a character that I'm playing rather than what I truly am. And so that's why the question is even asked. And so sometimes people ask questions, and I always say I would like to have a freedom question, not just a question about how I'm gonna get my light bill paid and all of that stuff, that kind of stuff. Life survival question. I want a freedom question. And we talked about this, Pastor Norman, about serious seekers. Seekers. Not just somebody who will come and listen to us because they feel like they're going to get an answer to the problem that they're trying to solve. That's not what we're talking about. We are taking you beyond that to the place where you will have the problem solved, but it won't be because somebody said something to you prophetically. It won't be because God gave you some magic formula. It will be because your eyes came open. And that's what John's talking about. Your eyes came open.
If somebody asks me who I am, I'm not going to tell them.
Yeah.
If I told you who I was, you'd probably walk off.
Nobody believe it.
No.
They won't.
That's
They'll lock you
up. Well, they're going to lock you up in that conversation.
In a padded room.
Yes.
There is no escape from this except through divine ignorance. Ignorance definition is ignoring the facts. The facts of life is you were never born. You can never die. I talked to a man in the Japanese restaurant, and I asked him, you probably remember me saying, I said, you look like you might be a preacher. His wife standing, she said, no, he's not a preacher. He's a teacher. I said, what does he teach in school? And she said, he teaches children in church. And I told him about my experience on the other side and seeing Jesus in everybody's eyes in the universe, the color. Now, some people say, no, he ain't in everybody because everybody is a sinner until they accept him. Well, okay, let's be that. Let's everybody accept him. Well, that ain't going to be enough for you because you're going to turn around and give somebody some scripture that says, well, you got to do this and you got to do that. And you got to have somebody that go this way and that way in order for you to get more of God. I don't waste my last little bitty nerve anymore trying to get people to see what the Bible said. But I am interested in the works of, well, let's put it like this. I am interested in the works that I did 2024 years ago. 2024 years ago, I was totally, in a suit that was similar to this. That's why I asked Jesus when I saw him. I said, I got your robe on. How can you be right at 7 feet tall standing in front of me? And I'm over here 5'6", little short, sawed off rascal. and I said, how? And I look at his robe on me. He said, one size fit all. That baby size, teenage size, toddler size, ugly size for ugly people, and pretty size for pretty people. They even got a robe to fit little midgets. So that fit me right good because I ain't too much from being a midget. But so here I am. I found out that the footsteps of Jesus is all in everybody's feet. The sandals that he wore, if he wore it, he might not have no sandals. He might have had some high top boots back in that day that they wrapped around his leg. All I know is that I know where he is. And I'm talking to him on this site tonight. And he's out there around the world listening to me right now, talking to himself. For my Lord speaks unto my Lord, and I'm going to stay. The Christ in me sees the Christ in you. The Christ that I am. Now listen to it. You cannot get God. He's ungettable. You are him.
Yes, yes. Now I just realized how I want to word this, so maybe somebody will get what I'm saying. Because I know I'm saying some things that may not really make sense.
You told me to say it.
Well, I didn't know how to say it. That's what I'm saying. Now I do. Let's go back to me as.
Can you say it?
Yes. Don't stop me though, because I might lose it. Okay. Going back to the identity of being a caregiver.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Talking about myself, being transparent. I could play that role. I'm using all of John Greason's
questions,
comments, because it's very, very key tonight. It's very key. I played the role, and so I was doing good. I was doing a good thing, but angry that I was having to be the one to do it. That makes sense. I was doing good and hating it the whole time. Does that make sense? I can do what Jesus would do and not like the fact that I'm the one that has to do it the whole time that I'm doing it. So that means I'm playing that role. I'm playing the character. But here I got to be the one to forgive. I got to be the one to take care of this person. I got to be. So you hear what I'm saying? If I take that role and it's not coming from, I'm going to say coming from the heart, then I am simply playing a part. And in my inner self, I'm incongruent because I'm doing something out here that I'm not in here. And so what I'm saying is coming into an alignment inside yourself. Inside yourself. Now, mind you, you say, when did the blinders come off? I didn't know I was doing that, John. But the Spirit of God revealed. And that's what you have to remember, is that you don't have to know how to do all of this. You don't have to know how to bring yourself to take the blinders off. You don't have to pull your own blinders off. The Spirit of God is here, and that Spirit of God is your higher self, is here to show you when you are fallen. And so I had fallen into the role. But when I fall into that role, like I said, what I feel on the inside is I'm scared, I'm anxious, I'm burdened because I'm overwhelmed. I don't want all of this. I don't like this. This feels out of control. All of these feelings on the inside, I didn't have to have that. I don't have to play the role. That's what I'm saying.
That's good. That's good, Mom.
Pastor, I'm sitting in the restaurant and somebody asked me, say, you gonna bless the food? I said, no, you go ahead. And
I deal with that all the time.
I said, no, you go ahead. And then I look around. I deliberately look around the when I go to the movies. I hadn't been in a long time. I look around the theater and I look around the restaurant, and I see people. You very seldom see too many people praying now, blessing the food. You know why?
Yeah, it's not common now.
They on their cell phone.
Don't get on the
Okay. No, I ain't getting on the box. And I just look around and see if I can see somebody blessing their food. And you know why? They talking to me.
And you know who the he is.
They talking to the cook. They talking to the waitress. The waitress is the eternal essence.
Yes. So
that's moving the body to cook.
Using that example, we bless our food. We'll sit in a restaurant and bless our food. Or we'll sit at home and bless our food. And all the while we're doing that because we are playing that role of being a good Christian. Exactly. A good Christian. And all the while, I'm about to lay somebody out because my food isn't right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna act like my food is. I am gonna do that what I consider good, the blessing my food. But then I'm gonna complain about my food not being right. And then I'm gonna and I mean I'm not saying if something's wrong with your food, you don't say anything. But I'm saying some of us really give people a hard time because we feel like they've done something to us.
Hey, I was behind a lady the other day, and she's come around the circle over here, and she was starting and stopping and holding up traffic. And I'm right behind her. So
did you blow your horn?
I put the train horn on. Yeah, I put the train horn on.
You should.
That 2-trumpet train horn.
Do that.
I blowed that thing so hard she pulled over the side of the police.
That's terrible.
That thing sounded like
terrible.
A train. And when she pulled over, I said, I just blowed my horn at Jesus. And Jesus got scared and pulled over. And now Jesus is done gone by his business. And if he wants to stay with that lady, it's all right. I ain't had no more trouble with that lady since. Now I'm making fun of this because we you know what? There's some people so serious that they used to tell us a long time ago when I had some hair on this bean up here and an afro. They said,
look, don't try to fix it. You know you had no business blow that horn at that lady like that.
I know.
You scared her.
I did. I sure did. I think I scared her underwear off because she pulled over like she had to go to the bathroom.
Karma's waiting on you.
Who?
Karma.
Well, they didn't blow at me. Track trailer blow at me. I blow back. But I know who's blowing the horn. Oh, no, Jesus ain't got no horn on his truck. Well, but mine,
you are a mess. You're a hoot. You're a hoot.
I laugh at all these people who have what you call road rages.
Yeah, road rages.
Yeah.
Road rages.
Well, is that what you had? Isn't that what you had? You blew the horn?
That's what made the horn.
I had some road rage. I said,
the
Lord, I bless you. Thank you. I forgive me. I forgive me. I forgive me.
Oh God. Look, on that, I gotta read something. This is in this little book I showed you guys before by Father Richard Rohr, What the Mystics Know. And he said here, I don't advise trying to master fears. You cannot fix the soul.
Exactly.
You can only acknowledge your own rage and your fear of trusting and refuse to identify with it. And then this is what he said here. The rifts and chasms are irreparable. Many are unable to offer one another basic respect, engage in civic dialogue, or honor what God is apparently patient with, which is the human struggle. And that's what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It's the human struggle. And we all have that. We all have that. And God is patient with it. He's patient with it.
Can you see in the dark? Yes. Can you walk in the dark? Yes. Your physical anatomy is the dark side of blindness.
Yeah.
But the walking of God is not affected because your eyes don't see in the dark.
Exactly.
His eyes are watching. Ask God a question, he will answer you by saying nothing or something. But I can promise you, in the geographical location of God, you have never been without him.
Now, I love what Linda Langdon says here.
I just read that. Yes.
Yeah. She says the separate self cannot force the blinders off. Exactly. And the separate cannot even love. The blinders come off when the blinders come off in its own due time. I was just looking at that, Linda, about the appointed time. Nothing to do,
and nothing
needs to be done.
That's very, very well said. That the
Yeah.
word I kept thinking about moment. It's a moment. You're not trying. It just happens. That's all. Like turn the switch on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I call it a holy moment. It's a holy moment. When the lights come on, it just comes on.
I never thought I'd see and hear so many people in my investigation in the near-death studies that have seen some of the very same thing that Christian church and all of these little bitty gases and octanes, service station people, won't give their life to God because they feel like they got to go to church and put on a tie and go to church and shout. And you know what? I want to show people, tell people how that you are already hooked up and never been disconnected. The lie is, well, you know, I had my tea pulled yesterday, and I just hurt all day like I've been today, and I got to wait till I get this feeling out the way so I can find God. Because since I feel bad, I don't think God gonna mess with me now because I got to bite him, and I can't bite him if I ain't got my teeth in. So
You gonna bite yourself. You gonna bite yourself.
Now, John, thank you for what you just said. He said, I made a statement a few days ago that God lives in the solar plex, and he does. He lives in our solar plex, and we are filled with every bit of the goodness that God is. The dynamo of the universe is here inside our being. And he says that struck a nerve with him, which is good. I'm glad it did. And it helps you take on a different outlook. I have often said I fall back into the arms of God. And I don't know how I can give you a concept of that. But there is a way that I feel myself falling back into the arms of God.
I just go, what's that for you?
Total surrender and trust. You made me think about the exercise that we perform, especially what I do with married couples about trust, turn around, just fall back into the arms of the person and so forth. And that's a sign of trust. But I mentioned the word fully surrendered is you just in his arms. You're not even thinking about trusting him. It's just happening.
I saw a dog on short films on YouTube. He went in the back bedroom and come out. He had done found somebody's false teeth and put them in his mouth.
We saw that.
No,
the dog came out smiling.
He's going to
I didn't see that one.
We cried. We laughed till we cried. It was just hilarious.
Hey, that puppy don't pay no attention. And I think he might have swallowed him. I don't know what he did, but
I need to tell John how I got to that place of falling back into the arms of God. I don't even know how I do it. And as Pastor Norma said, it was trusting and surrendering, and I don't feel that. How I got to that was when I was diagnosed with potentially having cancer. I had nowhere else to turn, and there was so much fear. I don't know how I found that sweet spot, but I found that sweet spot. They thought I had cancer. And when that happened, I was able to find that a way to fall back into the arms of God. And at that moment, it was a full surrender. It was a full surrender. What did he say? You're laughing about what he said.
I'm laughing at that. How many did I have to pick? I be talking about when people fall back into
not only that, but how many of them fell forward?
exactly.
I saw someone falling, wasn't nobody there to catch him. Yeah, bam, they hit the floor like a rock. Boom. Hey,
I have not had to pick up what anyone as of yet.
I love this man, but I don't think I trust him to catch me when I fall backwards.
You would be shaming.
You might fall backwards.
She ought to be shaming
you
yourself.
might fall backwards before I would.
You ought to be shaming yourself. You to catch you. All right, try.
You said something, Ma, that seems to be a common thread to many people that are awaken. You mentioned that incident happened to you when you was dealing with a diagnosis or they thought that you may have had cancer. Again, it's at those type of moments that somehow so unexplainable people are enlightened. They come to this place of awareness and awakening at the most drastic moments in their lives.
Yes, that's what happened. That's what happened.
Look what Linda said. I see it again. I see some words in that said, love the blinders.
Oh, it doesn't say love the blinders.
Love the blinders. That's what I saw. That's what I'm saying. I know you don't read it.
What did you see when I read?
I see something in what she said. Nobody can love the enemy but God.
Yes.
Nobody can love darkness but God, because light and darkness is no problem with God, because he does not have any problems.
Now, I got to say what John said.
What did he say?
I'm living with the master power lifter in my corner. You still the master power lifter? See, that's what I mean.
I ain't getting no money, John. I don't run out of fuel today, John. I couldn't hold a bow-legged biscuit.
That's stronger than he is, so he might fall before I do.
I've done failed many times in my lifetimes. I done failed coming down the stairs and just laid in the floor and see if anything broke.
What's that scripture, Pastor Norman? I know you know it, where don't put your trust in horses and don't put your trust in the arms of men.
That's right.
Yeah.
I shut up. Yes.
Oh my God.
We have to trust the God self.
Yes, we really do. And that's a big word, what you just said. Trust the God self. Trust the God.
Well, I hope y'all got something out of this, even though we had a little fun.
I hope you got something out of it, as much as I struggle trying to say it.
Well, that's because
you know what, Dad, you said something that I said Sunday, because I'm discovering that people that are enlightened or have come to a place of a level of awakening, there's a humor that comes with it. Dad mentioned about people being so serious. Yes. And I even because I find myself even in my presentation, and I like to have fun with the people.
Yeah, I do too.
And so at one time that was not me. I was Mr. Serious. But at a certain point in my life, I'm like, y'all even know, y'all sitting there like suck like y'all even know how to relax and have fun in God.
Exactly. Yeah. It's
so
a lightheartedness. Yeah, it's a lightheartedness, and that is lighthearted. The term lighthearted is exactly what it means. It's your heart is light. It's light. It's not heavy.
Yeah, then Calvin Manning was sitting at the table praying with his grandma. They get ready to bless the food.
Don't you say what Calvin said now. You get ready to too, aren't you?
And his grandmama stopped him. And you know how we used to get around the table at Easter and Thanksgiving, pray until the food get cold. You know, and morning, God.
Did you do that?
Yeah.
You did that?
Yeah. You remember when I did?
Mm-hmm.
What?
I just know when you did all that. when you did all that just now, that goes back to, I would say, really the main focus of this session has been dealing with the role for not trying to fulfill a role.
The role.
And,
Yeah.
and I, when people do that humming, they try to fulfill this
Impress
role or this
somebody.
expectation of what, trying to be spiritual, whatever. But as we was talking, I now see, and it's so many. We just really hit. A lot of people are weary because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to fill so many roles in life.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Vern, all right.
Vern fell down the
Vern
stairs.
said, no, he won't catch you.
No, I won't. He come down the
He
stairs.
watched
Well, what
her
is
fall
this?
down the stairs. Now, I got to give you this picture. We're living,
Because
we're
I
living
need
in
to see
the
that.
house. The house we were living in before we moved to this one. You remember we had the full basement. And
Really? I
remember
remember.
remember those steps that went from the up top floor, from the upstairs down to the basement? Well, we had it heavily carpeted, right? And so Laverne was spending the night with us. And for whatever reason, she started down those steps. And now Reverend's sitting in the chair.
I had on my
He's watching
Santa
the
Claus
TV
suit.
because the
I
stairs
remember where they
down
can't sit
the
there.
the stairs come down right next to where the TV is.
and the
And so
sofa.
he's sitting there looking up at the TV, and there's the steps, and he's watching Laverne come all the way down those steps. He just sat there and looked at her like that.
She said, boom, 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 boom. I
Did
said,
not move.
I know. I just watched the slide down. I didn't move the sofa all the way till you slide on out the door. Hey,
Dad has that. I call it a problem. He has that problem all the time. If something's happening, he won't get up to move about and do anything with it. He'll just say, "That's happening right there."
yeah.
So you're not.
If a fire breaks out on the stove, he won't get up to start put the fire out. He'll say, "You got a fire in there."
So he's not easily startled. He's not easily startled then.
I don't know what you call it.
But if I get to acting crazy, I like to do all kinds of things. Run out the door, run around the house, call the fire truck, everything.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That's why
You're right, Vern. You're right.
So
You're right.
So he wasn't moved. He wasn't moved with compassion.
No, he wasn't moved at all.
I wouldn't try to stop her.
Yeah, right. Was this Christmas? And Vern reminded me, was this at Christmas time? He's sitting down there with his what you call that? That night shirt
Nightgown.
and that hat.
Santa Claus hat.
Yeah. He was sitting there looking at Laverne.
I saw when she hit the top all the way down. There might about 15 steps. Come on down there. I just sat there and watched it. I tried to go move the sofa out of the way so she'd slide on out the door if you wanted to.
That is hilarious.
If I would have blocked her fall, it would have hurt both of us.
Yeah, well,
she was flying.
He didn't bother to try to.
She was flying like she had a parachute on. I boom.
He was sitting there in his night shirt. It was a red and white. It was a red and white striped night shirt and a Santa Claus hat.
Mm-hmm.
And he's watching her come down those steps, just sliding down those steps.
But she's okay. She didn't hurt nothing but her butt.
Linda Langdon, thank you, darling. Thank you for saying that. And John is reminding us all to hit the like button. And listen,
I think he asked me earlier, do I have a road runner on my shirt? No, that's a Puma.
Yeah, what is that on your shirt? What is that?
A Puma.
A Puma.
Oh, that's like a kitty cat.
Yeah, a Puma.
Jungle cat.
Yeah.
Okay.
You ever seen one?
Yeah.
You have.
Yeah, Puma.
You got close to one.
No, I ain't been close to it. Been on the other side of the fence.
I always like to have something like that for a pet.
No, you wouldn't, honey.
Yeah, I would like to have one like that.
You would not like to have one.
You couldn't have them in the city though.
You could, no, you wouldn't like that one.
Yeah, I would.
No.
I got a tiger sitting here
Listen,
beside me.
listen, you guys can bless Pastor Norman as well as you can bless us as well. Now, do that, and we thank you so much. We'll be back on Sunday at 10 o'clock for us. We'll be back at 9.
9 for me.
All right, Preaching Machine, thank you so much for being with us tonight. And we look forward to seeing you guys next week. I mean, the end of this week. Dad's going to take his medicine and go to bed, aren't you? Aren't you?
I'm going to try.
You're going to try. Well, you're going to do it. You're going to take your medicine and go to bed, right?
She going to hug you till it come out of you.
See? You started something. Something. Oh my goodness. Don't start that. Don't start that, Pastor Norman. Pastor Norman.
I feel like a broken chicken in the meat house. Yeah, I feel like a car tire going down the road with a booger on it, bump in the street.
Hope you guys got something out of this. We'll see you next time.
Okay. Y'all hold it in the road, tied down on both sides. Don't take no wood nipples.
Bye.
See you on the turnaround.